Welcome to the Heart of a Pastor. I'm Alesia Brown, your host. I'm so excited to be joined by my dear friend, Robyn Garcia. And we are having a little technical difficulty today. We're having a slight delay, so bear with us. We might stumble over each other. We might cut each other off, but it's love here. It's love in the air. The enemy's just not happy about what's going on. Good evening, Doreen. Thank you for joining us. If you're just now joining us, and I see some people coming in, especially on YouTube, and we can't see you in Facebook, so you need to make comments and let us know that you are here so we can say hello to you. God bless you and thank you for joining the Heart of a Pastor. This is a safe place where real conversation meets real ministry. We're here to talk about the real things about ministry and what we deal with on a day-to-day basis, because we want to help each other. We want to help our leaders. We want to help the community. We want to grow in God's love and in his grace. I want to share with you a few things before we're joined by Robyn. This on Saturday, November the 22nd, there's going to be a generations prayer at the Las Vegas House of Prayer. And we're putting it on the screen for you to see here. It's on Twain. I can send, if you're interested, I can send you more detailed information. We're inviting generations to come. Mothers and fathers and granddaughters and grandsons. And even if you're a friend and you have a friend in another generation, because sometimes we say, oh, they're too young for us or they're too old for us. But, we can learn from each other. And that's how the enemy tries to get us, by breaking down generations. Won't you join us at Generations Prayer? Invite someone to join us and be with us on November the 22nd at the Las Vegas House of Prayer. And also, I'd like to invite you to Lord of Harvest for their Thanksgiving Sunday special. I will be speaking there Sunday, November 23rd at their 11 o'clock service. I'm really excited. If you've never been to the Lord of Harvest, you need to go. They are my Filipino brothers and sisters, and they are an amazing congregation. I am so blessed every time I go to spend time with them. I will be with them Sunday, November 23rd at 11 o'clock a.m. Now, I have to tell you, I am so excited to have Robyn Garcia back with us again. She's the founder and executive director of Worth Fighting For, a powerful ministry dedicated to helping individuals discover healing, hope, and purpose. Together tonight, we're going to explore how cultivating gratitude and living generously can transform our hearts, homes, and communities. I want you, my friends, to get on your text, get on your Facebook, your Instagram, your whatever you have, and call your auntie, your cousin, your sister, your brother, and say, Lisa and Robyn are on the live, and come and join us, and let's have a wonderful time. So with nothing else ahead of us or behind us or in the way, I'm going to welcome my dear, precious friend, Robyn Garcia. I want you guys all welcome her. Get in the comments now and say hello to Robyn and let her know that she is welcome here. Hello, Robyn.
Hi, Lisa. It's so good to be with you tonight, and being out with you for my second time, just with the Heart of a Pastor and the podcast. And it was nice connecting with you, a little, pre-show connecting. And I love you. I love what God is doing through you. And I'm so thankful for, this time that we have together. The next, hour or however long we're together here tonight. So I love the topic you've chosen. And
it's going to be fun. I believe it's going to be really fun.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you. Thank you. Thank you. It was cute because my boss sent me a text.
It's an honor.
My boss sent me a text and he's like, what is this? His mother had sent him that I was doing a podcast tonight. And it was interesting because I was thinking, I explained to him what the podcast was. And it was interesting because all of a sudden my heart was swollen with gratitude. I was thinking, and now I'm going to cry, but my mother had passed away like I'm going to say about 14 years ago. And I didn't know this. I didn't know my boss. I didn't know his mother. I knew her from a distance, but I didn't know her. She's now, one of my girlfriends, close friend of mine. And 14 years ago, a different friend had called me and said, "Hey, what do you need?" Like my mother she was sick. We knew, it was a matter of time before she would leave this earth. And I said, "You know what? I just need to get to my mom. I just need to get on a plane. I just need to get there." And literally within, I don't even know, it seemed like immediately this lady, my boss's mother, bought my plane ticket to go, be with my mom. I didn't even know her. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, that lady, we're going to talk about generosity. And she's a generous lady. And it was just so, she didn't know me, but she's like, I just want, and when that was done, it made it's simple for me to be able to go and, be with my mom. And she's like, let me know, when you want to come back, and, I'll take care of your ticket on the way back. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. So I was thinking about that on the way when, I got the text from my boss, and his mom had shared it with them. I was like, oh my gosh, I was so grateful. I'm so thankful for them in my lives, and just the opportunity to share God's goodness and what he's done over the years. So truly grateful. So
that is
yeah.
so beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. That touched my heart. I felt that, because when you're in those moments of going through things and it's difficult, it's so good to feel that someone is there for you. That is precious.
It
I
was.
do want to shout out Eileen Kelly. She's saying welcome and hello to you, Robyn.
Hi,
Eileen
Eileen.
Kelly
Hi, Eileen.
and Deborah Woodrow. Hi,
Oh,
Deborah.
hi, Deborah. She's my CPA for
Oh,
Worth Fighting For. She crossed over, and I'm truly thankful for her. She got us, up to date with all of our IRS fun stuff, and she's an amazing CPA. So if anybody needs her, you can check her out later. She's excellent.
she absolutely is. She does my mom and dad as well. I have
Oh,
a
wonderful.
CPA. I have a CPA out of Los Angeles that I've used since he is my children's godfather. So
Oh,
we're at the
fun.
hip. She, but she is amazing, and I say all the time I'm going to switch over to her. She is great.
Isn't
Deborah
that
is
cool?
great.
That's so
Yes.
fun. Wow.
Well, Robyn, we have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm really, really excited. And I want to say, before we even get into this wonderful conversation of gratitude and generosity and the overflow of a thankful heart, I want to say how generous you are. I thought
Oh,
this was such a good subject for you, because you are such a generous person. I have been a benefactor of your generosity. You are so kind, and I know so many people, and your organization is all about generosity. So
right.
when we decided that this would be the topic, gratitude and generosity, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Um, well, obviously, gratitude is total appreciation, and I love people. So, one of the things that I'm truly grateful for is people. And so, gratitude, for me looks like, having a thankful heart, but thankful for people, and I value people. And so many people, have different ways of expressing appreciation and gratitude. Some, it's the languages of love. And so um it could be, time with somebody, act of service, whatever, gifts. I mean, who doesn't like a nice little gift? And so um right. But it's actually, I think being grateful
Yeah.
is a gift that keeps giving. It gives on, to others. And then generosity basically flows from the gratitude. So I think me having a thankful heart and a grateful heart allows me to give to others. It's not like I want to hold on to anything. I want to share it with others. And it's a response. Generosity is a response to my gratitude. And I've done a little Webster research, as well as, looking in the scriptures. And in the Webster's dictionary, it talks about generous being magnanimous, kindly, liberal in giving, and open-handed. I love to give open-handedly because it's not like you're hanging on to it. And it's marked by abundance, and I love to be able to give to others. In Acts, in Acts 20, it says that it's more blessed to give than to receive. I'm not going to lie and say that, oh my gosh, I don't like to receive, because I love to receive. I give so much that I had to kind of take a step back and actually be a recipient of gifts as well. And it was hard. This is funny. I remember, gosh, when I first got to Vegas about 32 years ago, I had a sciatica problem. And it actually, I had to go to the hospital because I passed out from the pain.
Yes.
And when I got home from the hospital, it was like these ladies were going to bring me food. They were going to come to my house and clean and help, because I was literally bedridden for a few days. And I was like, I don't want that. I don't want anybody. I'm going to do this myself. But I couldn't do it. And my kids were older, not older. They were 5, 7, and 8 years old. But it was hard for me to receive. I was a giver. And I learned, like 30 years ago, I'm still learning. Like, I have to receive. I have to be a recipient. And as a recipient, it actually allows me to give, to others, because it's so easy for me to give. But I love celebrating with others. And so, it's fun to give someone, to spend time with somebody, somebody who I love spending time. It's like, oh, what do you want to do for your birthday? Let's just go hang out. I've gone from having these big parties to, hey, let's just make it simple and plain. And I just want to hang out and do something. So my heart is so grateful for people, as well as seeing others when they get blessed too with different gifts and stuff. So, it's important to me to give as well as receive. So, but I want to share about a moment in my life when gratitude kind of reshaped the way that I looked at life. I was 17 years old, and I was traveling. I was in California. I was traveling down a two-lane highway so I'm going down the highway. I'm going south. The other, car's going north, and it's not a car, it's a semi. And in the middle of my road, it had some water. There were irrigation ditches on both sides of the road, and there was some water on my side. Well, I just had a little Honda Civic, and so when the semi was coming this way, he was in his own lane, I was in my own lane. We didn't crash or anything. My car, just kind of went like this a little. It was like, the reverberating from the big truck. And what happened was my car wheels on the right side got in the water, and I started hydroplaning down the highway. Well, I did what you absolutely should not do. I slammed on my brakes. So when I slammed on my brakes, I ended up upside down in a ditch, the irrigation ditch that was nice, right next to me. And I said, oh my gosh, I got to get out of my car. So I had 2 passengers in my car. I was 17 years old. I had one of my friends from high school, just a guy friend, and then another guy friend. They're both sitting in the car, and they were drinking beer along, en route. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm thinking, we got to get out of this car. And so I'm thinking, we could just flip it over really quick, and then we can get on our way. Because my parents knew I was going to the airport, but I lived like 45 minutes from the Sacramento airport, but I was like 2 hours from the San Francisco airport. So I was really on my way to San Francisco, but I hadn't told them I was on my way to San Francisco. They thought I was going to Sacramento. They're at church, so I'm lying. Oh my gosh. Half truth is a lie. So fast forwarding, I basically, tell the guys, hey, let's flip the car over. We, crawl out the back window, and they're like, we can't do that. And I was like, what? Like, they're like, no, your car is going to have like a tow truck or something pull it out. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that all happens. And the CHP basically tells me, hey, get all of your belongings out of the car because it's probably going to be totaled. And so I went to my car and I found my sunglasses that I was wearing, and they were pinned between the top of the car, was crunched down, and the sunglasses were pinned between the top of the seat and the top of the car. And it was just crazy. So I was like, oh my gosh, I showed it, CHP, and he goes, hey, by chance, were you wearing your seatbelt? Back in those days, when I was 17, it was kind of a long time ago. You didn't have to wear seatbelts. You didn't have cell phones either. So I wore the seatbelt just because when I had gotten out at the 7-Eleven, just right 5 minutes before the accident, it was like the Holy Spirit said, put on your seatbelt. But I put it on. I didn't even know why I put it on. But then later I knew. So the cop was like, hey, it was great that you had that, because that probably would have been your face if you had not had the seatbelt, keeping you held in. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I walked down, I meant to grab it, but I walked down the street a little ways, and my Bible's in the middle of the street. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it's open, it's open. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the Lord began to speak to me, and he's like, I saved you. I saved your life. And at that moment, I was so grateful. My heart just was like, oh my gosh. I knew who Jesus was. I'd accepted him into my life. But that day, it was like an encounter with God. And I was like, oh my goodness, this guy, he laid his life down for me, like so that I could live. At this moment, he saved me. I could have died. I could have, all these different crazy things. So I was like, oh my goodness, God, he was real. Like, it was just real. So that day when I was 17, totally, made a choice to live for Jesus. I basically got saved almost every Sunday because I backslid on Friday and Saturday nights as a teenager. So I'm on my way home. I called my boyfriend, who's now my husband, and I said, hey, can you pick me up? I was in a crash. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll be right over. So he comes, and the whole way home, which was about 45 minutes, he doesn't say a word. And I was just like, so he's got me and my two guy friends who he's friends with as well. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, I'm so glad, you're alive. I'm so glad you're not hurt. And he goes, oh Lord, but what are your parents going to say? My parents were in church, so I couldn't call them. We didn't have cell phones. It wasn't like really easy. I called my boyfriend because I knew he was at work and he could answer the phone. So I get home, I walk in the house, and I'm muddy because I was in an irrigation ditch. So my hair is like, I look like, I'm dirty and straggly looking. And my parents, basically, they were like, oh my gosh. And they hugged me and they welcomed me. They're like, oh my gosh, we're so grateful. You're okay. What happened? And they tell me, I tell them what happened and everything. And so it was amazing because they displayed the love of Christ. So amazing. It was like, we don't care what happened to the car. We don't care what happened, but we're glad you're here and you're alive. And my husband was like, he was in shock because he had never seen unconditional love like that. Well, he was my boyfriend then. He was like, I'd never seen anybody like not upset about the situation, but they were truly grateful that you were alive. And so I was like, oh my goodness. So grateful to have really, a Lord that loves me, saved me, parents that love me unconditionally, and that were there for me and displayed the love of Christ, my parents are awesome. They're generous, giving, loving people. They, share love so wonderfully. And so it's been, awesome, from that day when I was 17 and in June of 84. So you guys can figure out how old I am now, but I am grateful, so grateful for those experiences that I've walked through. So yes.
That is so beautiful, Robyn. I'm here to tell you right now, I'm fighting. I'm fighting back the tears because
Yeah.
the next thing I was going to ask you is already unfolded. You already brought it into view. Is what does generosity look like when you don't have funds or when you don't have the resources to give?
Mm,
But there are other
yeah.
things that you can give that are free,
Yeah.
that cost
Yeah.
you absolutely nothing.
Yep.
And that's exactly what that situation was.
Yeah. 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 What does it look like? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's loving, loving people, loving life. And it was funny because I was looking in the scriptures and I was thinking of, the boy that had the five loaves and the two fish. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
he had what he had, which wasn't a lot, was even kind of peculiar, but that fed so many people. And then I was thinking about the widow who had the jars and the oil, and she went in there and the guy comes to her house like, hey, what do you have? And that's what she has. And I think so many times people think we have to have money. It's, oh my gosh, we have to have money, we have to da 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 da. And it's not all about money. It's about time, it's about love, it's about experience. Oh my goodness, it's about, words of affirmation. And so I really think people get, oh my gosh, how much money can I give? Even in the scripture where it's talking about the widow who gave, I think it was two coins, but then there was a rich man who gave all this money.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I'm thinking of these widows, Lisa. You're a widow, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Lisa shows up every week. She gives her time. She's ministering to pastors. You're helping pastors. I mean, to be a pastor, it is not an easy thing. And so and then what you've walked through with your loss, I mean, that
Yeah.
was incredible. And so, but you show up and you're encouraging pastors and, loving them and giving them valuable resources. And so I think that it doesn't always look like money. It doesn't, I work with Delivering Good, we're ministering to such a different demographic. We're ministering to the trafficked. And, I had a gal that I work with out of Oklahoma, and she's like, hey, you're not going to believe it, but 3 of my trafficked girls right now, they're pregnant and they need baby resources. Can you help me? I'd helped her in the past. And so I'm like, absolutely. I will call some of my girls. And I have this, we have a gang. We're called the Do Good Girl Gang. And we bless, it's just about blessing people. So I put a little note in there and I'm like, hey, if any of you can help, this is what we're doing. And so we got to send some awesome resources to these trafficked women in Oklahoma. And I have a girl right now that I'm actually, she came to me, and not her, but an agency came to me, and they're like, hey, they're funding, I don't know how she was being funded. It was through another agency, a nonprofit here in Vegas. And she said her funding for counseling is done. The counselor's trying to find some resources and all that. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't know about you, but I think for me personally, therapy is something everybody needs. And, being trafficked and the trauma, and even, being in foster care in different situations that people go through. And so this gal had asked me, it costs $80 a session. Is there any way that, you can find some resources? And I was like, absolutely. I will find some resources. I'll look and see, what's available out there. And, my last mission is obviously to ask donors, to help. It's funny because I was looking at my bank account for Worth Fighting For, and I was like, you know what? This is crazy. And I don't know if my bookkeeper's on here, but I was like, this is the least amount of money we've ever had in Worth Fighting For. And you know what? I'm not worried about it because God always provides. He's like Jehovah in the nick of time. And so he always gives whenever we need it. And
Yeah.
so, Lisa, it's crazy. You say, is it money? Is it, the different resources that God, in generosity, This is the wildest story. This just happened about a month ago, and I put it on Facebook just because I was in awe of God. This girl messages me, one of my girlfriends here in Vegas, and she says, "Oh my gosh," she goes, "I know you get different resources." She goes, "But," she goes, "I'm wondering if you have a table. My husband just broke our table in half on an accident." And they had this beautiful wood table. I'm like, "How do you break a table?" I didn't even ask her. I was like, "Well, let me think." And I'm thinking, well, I'm not giving her mine, but I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to find one. I'm going to find one. It's going to pop, I am not kidding. I'm not lying. 44 minutes later, I get a text from a different girlfriend. She says, "Robyn," she goes, "I know you moved. I moved. I've been living in this place, I think, for about 9 months now." And she says, "I know you and your husband just moved into this new place. Did you get a table? Do you need a table?" And I was like, she sends me this picture of this gorgeous table. And I was like, it had 6 chairs. And I was like, this family had 3 kids, the mom and dad. And then the other one was for whoever else they wanted it. And I was like, 44 minutes later from the first text, I go, "Absolutely." I said, "I want that." She goes, "One of my girlfriends is giving this away and she wanted to give it to a family in need." And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, "This is the wildest." I said, but,
Yes.
44 minutes ago, I got this text. And I think it's just amazing how God does that. And I'm like, the family met the lady, to pick up the table and everything. And it was so cute. She goes, "You don't know how grateful we were." I was just a conduit. I was just the connector. I was just the networker who happened to, get the text at the same time. But that's how God is. I mean, 44 minutes later, after she texts someone and she's thinking, how are we going to eat? Obviously they could eat around, the couch or whatever, but she has little kids too. And so it would have been kind of a little bit of a predicament. And so, I love seeing God, move like that. But one of the things that I've done over the years, and I know I'm talking a lot, but it just excites me.
Go right ahead.
Generosity and gratitude. On Mondays, when I used to work at the church, oh my gosh, Mondays were like a hard day. It was just like Sunday was a big day. It was like being at the Super Bowl. You were one of the players. I may not have been the quarterback, but man, I was moving that ball everywhere. And so on Monday, I would do something that would be, I would get a little note card, they were note cards, I guess. I would send them in the mail and I would handwrite a letter, at least 3, if not 10, to people in the church or people that God would put on my heart. And I would just write them a little note of encouragement. Oh my goodness, God loves you, whatever the Lord had put in my heart. And I think so many times people forget how words of affirmation can bring healing and really encourage somebody. It's a gift to receive, something like that. And I'm going to say probably about, we're in November. So I'm going to say about 3 weeks ago, I got to really go back and I'm going to start doing that Monday thing. And God said, I want you to do it for 14 days specifically. So I did my 10, people, I did 10 a day. And on one day, God says, hey, just look in your phone and look up the Marys. Look, find the Marys and text them. So I wrote a few of the Marys and I was just like, good morning. And then I'd send a little text. And so one of the Marys says to me, oh, you probably saw on Facebook that my daughter-in-law is, believing for a healing. She has cancer. And I was like, oh, so I go to Facebook and I'm like, I don't really like look at Facebook that much. And so I was like, oh my goodness. I go, Mary, we're not even friends on Facebook. I had no idea that your daughter-in-law had cancer. I go, I'm going to pray and believe with you for a miracle. And she goes, oh, thank you. She goes, this is just what I needed for this morning, that your words brought me hope and really ignited me. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank God. And then I sent it to one of my other Mary friends. And she said to me, she goes, makes me cry. She goes, She goes, wow, we're really going through some hard family situations. She goes, my son is an adult, alcoholic. And he was good for, so many years, but he just fell off the wagon and he fell hard. And she goes, and it's affecting the entire family. It's been really hard for them. And I thought, wow, they weren't even really powerful words that I sent to these Marys. I don't know. I'm not looking at my phone to see what they were, but those words brought so much life and healing. And I think, sometimes we hold on to our words, we hold on to items, we hold on to things, and we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to give. When I was talking about generosity, it said open-handed, the Webster's dictionary meaning of that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my words were words of healing. And we all have that within us. So we all have the opportunity to give a word of healing, a word of, comfort, a word of hope, a word of, restoration, or whatever it looks like. And so I was so glad. I was like, oh God, thank you that I heard you to do that, to send those texts out. And I didn't give them any money, but I gave them hope. I gave them love. I showed kindness, and I love that, and even going back to the beginning story, I know my friend and her husband, are listening tonight, and they are two of the most generous financially. They have the financial means to be able to give, and they've given to the cancer clinics. They've given to so many people. I don't even know. Well, I do know one of the stories that, and I could share their stories, but they give what they have. And I think that's that people hang on to things because they're like, well, I don't have what they have, and I can't do what they can. But that widow, she gave everything she had. Those coins she gave, and the Lord noticed and said something. And so I think that's what's crazy is, we hold on to things that we shouldn't, hold on to when we have the power to be, generous. And I just want to challenge everyone tonight. Don't hold on to things, let generosity overflow from your heart, onto others. And so I don't know, that's craziness. I'm trying to get myself back up together, so I'm not all.
That was really good. Good evening, Carmen. Thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you.
Hi, Carmen.
I was going to say, Robyn, the thing that got to me when you were talking and the stories that you were showing, something that is so easy to give and so needed in this time and season that we're in. And I don't know why this show is making me so emotional, but one thing that we could be giving is kindness. Mm-hmm. Kindness is absolutely free, and it's something that is so needed right now.
Yes.
It's like we're not being as kind as we should be at times to people. I mean, I go to the store. I know people think I'm crazy, Robyn. I go to the grocery store and I just talk to people like we know each other. My mom and dad laugh at me because I'm like, and how are you doing today? I just talk to them and they get so happy. And I have a t-shirt on my back that says, on my back of my t-shirt, it says, if you're looking at this t-shirt, you matter, you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are confident, all these things. And people come up to me and say, I needed someone to say that to me today.
Yeah.
So just kindness too,
Yes. Yes.
And Eileen said, giving of ourselves. That's right. Absolutely. And Carmen said, two powerful, anointed women. So great to see you guys together. Thank you.
Oh, it's fun to be together. I love that. Yeah. I mean, I love that how generosity and gratitude go together. And I think even in relationships, if we're truly thankful and grateful for relationships, it's like you're going to spend time together. You're going to do things together. You're going to, whatever their burdens, whatever their needs are, you're going to share them with and this is a funny story I got to share. One of my girlfriends, she says, "Hey," she goes, "I know you pray." She goes, can you pray for me to sell my house?" And I was like, "Absolutely." I said, I'm dialing in this week. I'm going to pray. I'm going to believe, da, 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 da. So she says, "Okay." So I pray, I believe, and literally she sold the house quickly after. I want to say a week, but I might be wrong on the date. So a couple weeks later, I get a gift from her. And she said, "I told you that if I sold my house, I was going to give you a gift." She got me a pair of Gucci tennis shoes. Those shoes were like $800. Okay. I've never had anything like that.
Wow.
Okay. And I was like, but every time I wear those shoes, I remember. And I think that's what we have to do. I didn't pray because I knew I was going to get a gift. No, that's not why I prayed. I prayed because she asked. I prayed because it was something that I could do. I loved her. It was out of the kindness of my heart. And her overflowing love was like, "Hey, I'm going to give this gift to her." Like, and I love how God does that. And so out of her overflowing, grateful heart, I got this wonderful gift. And it reminds me, when I wear them, God answers prayer. It's like He does. He's there, and He's generous. He's extravagant. And it's just so fun to see that. And when I want to go back to relationships. When I think of relationships and what generosity looks like in relationships, I think it's being emotionally available. And I think sometimes we're so caught up on our phones or caught up in, other things that are happening, that when the person is sitting right in front of us, we don't spend that time, we don't give them that undivided attention that they, truly need. And that, I think, time is a commodity we could never get back. One of the things I do, I haven't done it in a while, but I taught for Hope for Prisoners and on time management and goal setting and time management. It's like we all have the same amount of time. We all start out with that 24 hours in a day. Lisa, you have it. Carmen has it. Joan, Jim, you guys have, whoever. We all have 24 hours in a day. That's all we have. Nobody has more than each other. But how are we going to invest our time? Okay. Are we going to be, I have to invest in me. I have to invest in me, because if I give everything away to everybody else, I'm going to be so depleted. I'm not going to have anything for me or for those who really matter to me, my husband and my children, and so I think it's really, really important that we are emotionally, available, and that we do love and listen to others. And sometimes it's just showing up. You don't know. One thing I love about Saturdays is we go to our grandson's basketball games. He's really cool now. He's in 8th grade. Hey, Gigi, hey, he does that. And I'm like, get over here. I'm just going to hug you and kiss you and mess your hair up. But it means so much for me to show up to that game as a grandparent. It speaks so loud. And there's not a lot of grandparents there, but I will not give that up. Right now it's in Henderson, those games, and it takes me half hour to 45 minutes to get there. And it is far. But the smile on his face and the smile in my heart, because I'm giving of my time. And it doesn't just take that, because then I have to sit there in the uncomfortable stands, and then drive home afterwards. But I never drive home. I always have him in the car with me. But, get in here. We're going to go have pizza or something. So I think just, listening and love, everybody can do that. Everybody can show up, listen and love. That's a commodity we all have. And so I think that's something that I just absolutely, it just gets me excited. I could just stand up and do jumping jacks right now. I'm so excited about that. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Grandkids do that to you. I only have one, but I tell you, I don't think I could have more, because my heart is just, it expands because of it. Hey, Robyn, tell us a little bit more about Worth Fighting For.
Worth Fighting For?
People who are listening now and the people who will listen later, I want them to know about Worth Fighting For.
Okay, so Worth Fighting For, we are a nonprofit here in Nevada, and we basically bring hope to those in traumatic situations. Obviously, our heart has always been for the trafficked, so we partner with different agencies here in town. The homeless, we partner with one of my favorite agencies that we partner with is Shine the Light, and going into the tunnels and just bringing clothing. I work with another agency out of New York, Delivering Good, and they provide me with brand new, beautiful clothing. And I have an opportunity to do baby conventions with them. And so I get to partner with a lot of different, Worth Fighting For. We get to partner with a lot of agencies here in town. Hannah's Closet is another thing, another agency. And basically they provide for foster children or orphans, as it relates to them in the Bible, and then also partner with some different churches, and a lot of different shelters. And so it's really awesome to be able to do that, to go into those agencies. I just mentioned that we have a gal, right now she's coming to us asking, for some help for counseling. And so we really partner with different things. One of the things that we do every January, we've done it for the last 3 years, is we go to the AVN, the Adult Video Convention in here in Vegas, and we go undercover, we call it. And so basically it's the porn show. It's the porn stars are there, and we go in there and we have a booth, and we have this big wheel, and it's like a wheel of fortune, and they spin the wheel, and then we speak words of life and words of affirmation, and then we give them a little wristband. It says shine or goals. It has whatever color they hit, they get to wear that. So that's a big convention that we attend. It costs a lot to go. It costs a lot to be there, put it on, to have the booths there, but we get so much I'm going to say fruit from it. We get so much, we get to really minister to. In Isaiah 60, it talks about how it says, arise and shine, for the light has come. The glory of the Lord is here. And there's a deep darkness that covers the earth. And we see that deep darkness in that demographic with the people at the convention, not only the stars, but the actual attenders. And so people are visiting our booth. We're, doing prophesying over them or giving words of affirmation over them. We're also, one of the main things we do at the booth is we interpret dreams. And so they have some dreams, and we have the opportunity, and we actually don't go in there and, talk about Jesus. We call him the Spirit of Truth, because it says in the Word of God that he is a spirit of truth and life. And, we can look in the Word over and over and how many times it talks about him being the truth. And so we go in there, and they are so open. And I've had opportunities where we've just been really able to minister to these people in the porn industry over the last few years. Matter of fact, I think it was probably at the first year I went, the girls were talking to the security guy, and they were really, like, oh my gosh, for a while they came and they said, hey, Robyn, come meet this guy. He's here. He's local. He works here. So I go over, and it turns out he says to me, he goes, I know you guys are spies. I go, we're spies? He goes, I know you guys are really Christians, and you're bringing, love into this place. And I go, oh, well, why do you know that? He goes, I've been watching you for these last couple of days, and I know because you guys, shine. So he's telling me all this stuff, and I go, well, what's your story? And he goes, I had a praying mom. I go, you had a praying mom? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I was so far from the Lord. I was drugs, alcohol. I was a mess. And he goes, my mom went to this church, and her Thursday morning Bible study ladies prayed. And I was like, yeah, what was the name of the church? He goes, ICLV. I go, no, are are you kidding me? I said, who's your mom? That was, the church that I went to. And he said, my mom's Fran Scalero, is he tells me. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I prayed for you. I prayed with your mom for you. I know your mom. Your mom is a dear friend of mine. And so it was just so powerful to see, and he had just been walking in sobriety at that time. Like, it was new to him. He was going to Central Christian to the I can't remember the classes that they have out there, but they have a great support system out there. And so it was really cool. Fast forwarding to this year, his mom called me in May, and he died of a heart attack. She's not even sure. She found him, in the morning. He didn't wake up. And so, but she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful, that we got to reconnect. And I'm so thankful that he knew the Lord, and that, he really made a difference in so many people's lives. So I didn't have the opportunity to go to his memorial because I was out of town that weekend, but it's just amazing how, how God uses us through Worth Fighting For in dark places. And so it's been really, exciting and fun and hard. And so I love being able to do that. I love to see, the different demographics. I went out to, oh my gosh, I don't even remember what the name, I forget the name. I remember the leaders' names, but I forget the name of all the ministries. But my husband and I went out and we took all this baby stuff to this home for women, a shelter for women that basically has young girls from the ages of 14 to 24. And they just broke ground. I don't know if they rebroke ground. It was an old facility that, they're redoing. And so we took a bunch of things out to them, and it's just, we're busy in the community partnering, with First Choice. And that's where you used to be. I know.
Yes.
Yes, you were the director for years,
Yes.
a few years ago. And
Yeah.
so we partner with them, and then the Women's Resource Center. And so it's been fun just to be in different agencies all over. So
Oh, so awesome.
I just find joy in helping, others, and then being able to, share via Worth Fighting For with so many others. So it's been really a blessing. So
I should have gotten your information, but I'm going to get it and I'm going to put it in the comments if anybody wants to contact you or support or give, because, I was just talking to my daughter and I was saying, a lot of the things that we do, they're from the heart. It's a heart posture. It's not because we have, it's because God puts the burden on our heart. Can always use support. Worth Fighting For can use support financially, whatever her needs are. But I want your information. I want to be able to put it online.
Oh, thank you so much.
I want to make a couple of more announcements, Robyn, and then we're going to come back and let you share anything that's on your heart before we leave, or anything you might have brushed over that you didn't get a chance to talk about. But I do want to share that a couple of announcements. Next week, we are so blessed to have your friend and mine, Norma Irabazo of Beautiful Life Global.
Oh, how fun.
Back as a guest to be with us. And she's going to be talking about connecting and how we need to connect as believers. And it's going to be a wonderful time in the Lord. I'm really excited about that. And I just want to remind you guys again of what we have coming up, that on November the 22nd at the House of Prayer, we're going to be having Generations Prayer. Bring your daughter, your son, your grandson, your niece, your nephew, everybody. Let the generations connect and let's pray as generations, because generational prayer is important. How you look so often in the Bible, it talks about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All of them knew God, and we want to continue those generations, making sure our family knows God. And then I want to invite you to join me on November the 23rd at Lord of Harvest Thanksgiving Sunday special. We'll be speaking to their congregation, and we're going to have a wonderful fellowship and a Thanksgiving meal. So I'm really excited. Robyn, I like to go to Lord of Harvest because they feed you really well there. Not just in the spirit, but also physically.
Oh my goodness.
So,
oh my goodness. That's hilarious. I got to share something with you. My friends, Joan and Jim, who are watching. Are you done with your things? I'm sorry. Were you done with your?
Yes, I am. It's on you.
Okay,
it's on you.
Okay, they sent me a text because they couldn't figure out how to do the live stream there. But she said, "Oh my goodness," she says, "I just ordered this sweatshirt that Alesia is talking about." And so she has a picture. "You are enough, dear person behind me. The world is a better place with you in it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So she has your T-shirt. Isn't that funny? She just ordered it last week.
I love that.
Isn't that fun?
I love that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think you've said so many awesome things, and I think it's exciting to see what I love what your daughter does. First of all, Janice and Leonard, your daughter and son-in-law, and that house of prayer. They partnered with us. We've gone there, and I think it was in January of where we Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we've gone and prayed, and they've just opened their doors and allowed us to come in there as a team and partnered with us and prayed and let him worship. So I love what they do. So if you guys have the opportunity to go there this weekend, absolutely, be there. And then what you're talking about, the Lord of the Harvest, haven't been there. So maybe that weekend, I'm not sure. Joel and I are going to be celebrating our anniversary on the 24th of November. So,
you better be
41.
You better be with him. That's what you ought to be.
I will be with him. Yeah. 41 years. I've been with him 41 years. So.
Oh, that is beautiful. So awesome.
Yes. But I do want to say, I think I want to end with this we hear gratitude is a choice, and what does it look like when we don't feel thankful? Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't always feel thankful. I'm not always thankful. There's real life circumstances that happen that we aren't grateful for. And I'm one of those people. I wasn't thankful when I found out my sister was murdered. I wasn't thankful for that. I wasn't grateful. I had to go through a process of forgiveness. I wasn't thankful when one of my kids, was a drug addict. Hard times. I wasn't grateful when my other sister had cancer, when she walked through that. She's healed and doing amazing now. And, we all have life circumstances that are hard, that are, I have my shoes that I walk in, and everybody has their different shoes, but life isn't always going to be, a blissful journey. But having an attitude of gratitude in the process, we hear, or fake it till you make it. I say, believe it until you seize it. Believe it until you seize it. That came to me yesterday. And I tell you what, when I walk through hard circumstances, negative stuff that is so wrong, and so, these girls that have been victimized, these trafficked girls, these poor little, kids that are in foster care, and it weighs on me. Like, I could go down this swirl where I'm thinking of these circumstances, and I could forget about what God has done. But I pause, and I'm like, I have those memorial stones it talks about in the scriptures about memorial stones. So I have these pauses where I go, I have to get to the place where I'm not spiraling down and getting into a depression or getting to an unthankful state. I have to remember what God has done, and I have to remember the good things that God has done. How, when my sister had cancer, it's like, oh no, I saw people being healed of cancer. If they can be healed of cancer, she can be healed of cancer. So it's like I had to train, retrain, shift the way that I thought, and I had to believe it. I had to declare it until it was seized. And then also even with the drug addicts, I can remember all the not so many drug addicts or former prisoners that are now walking in freedom. And so I have to remember that. I have to hang on to those things when my child was not doing well. And it was like, oh my gosh, am I going to find him in a ditch? I mean, Doris and I we would go dumpster diving, basically looking for, over off Twain and Flamingo over by the UNLV campus. Just, I hadn't seen my son. I was like, can you please go with me? And I just need to see if we can find him. And so, but I remember those times, when moms call me and they're like, our son is not doing well. I'm going, he's coming. I'm believing. I'm believing. And so I think if we can remember those breakthroughs that we have, and, keeping that attitude of gratitude, it's okay. You don't have to, fake it, but I believe that as you believe and as you find that place of gratefulness, and as you find that place where, all that negativity, you wash it out and you're like, okay, the word says with God, all things are possible. And in Thessalonians, it talks about giving thanks in all circumstances. God, this sucks. I say that. I don't know if you say that, but I say that. God, this sucks. But I know in the end, I might not know it then, but I know in the end, something beautiful is going to come of it. And the trying times, I would say, in my life are the times that I am so grateful for. That's where my knees, they're getting kind of a little older now, but that's where, those trying times, me praying and me going through those, where I really developed a relationship with the Lord, and developed, even praying. And I'm thankful for those times. I don't despise those hard times. And it's actually had me keep a clean heart. And so, life happens. It's not always, living the best life, but God's there, and he always shows up. And I love that about him. So believe it until you sees it.
I love that. I love that. I put that on the screen. I'm telling you, believe it till you sees it. We like that. We like that, Robyn.
Yeah.
I'll find myself saying that. That's catchy.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been
thank
fun.
You it has. I love seeing your smiling face. You're doing a great job, Lisa.
Oh, you're so sweet. I want to say hi to Vicki Selman, who came on and joined us. Good to see you, Vicki.
Hi, Vicki.
Hey, Queen Victoria.
Yes.
Well, I want to remind you all to join us next week where Norma will be with us. It's going to be so much fun. Stay right there, Robyn. I want to say goodbye to you properly. But thank you, everyone. And I will see you next week. God bless you. You have a wonderful evening. And remember, when you go to